Okay, let's do this. Hi, beautiful people. This is Joy Ngapu. I have a Facebook page called Big Sister Advice with Joy Ngapu, and I would love for you to go there and like my page. I also do have a YouTube channel. It's also called Big Sister Advice with Joy Ngapu. So please do go ahead and subscribe on my channel. That's basically where I share advice to younger girls and guys as well, in terms of basically how to grow up like a boss, basically. So I'm basically sharing tips there in terms of the things that I experienced and the lessons that I've learned throughout the way. So I thought today, let me just do a live video and, test my boundaries, push my boundaries basically, and see what I can do with this online influencing thing, right? So anyway, without speaking too much, today I just wanted to speak to someone who's currently thinking of doing their honors thesis, and they're basically wondering what things to consider basically. So I've written a few tips here in terms of what you need to think about before you can even start. And basically we'll just see where this goes. So just a background story. I did my undergrad at Rhodes University, and I majored in journalism and media studies, as well as African language studies, right? So, and then in 2016, I did that from 2013 to 2015. And then in 2016, I did my honors in African language studies, specializing in translation, right? And then I did my honors thesis there. So it was a combined thing whereby you do a thesis as well as a few courses on the side. So I did my research and I decided to write the whole thing in isiXhosa because I'm very good at writing isiXhosa. So I thought, and I was very passionate about the language, and I thought, why not challenge myself? And at that time, there was no thesis that was written in isiXhosa, so it was a challenge for me, an exciting one, because I knew that basically throughout my life I've been very good in writing isiXhosa, the grammar and all that. So I thought I knew that it is something that I could definitely do. So anyway, I wrote my thesis in isiXhosa, and in the end I got my 88 over 100. So that is something that I'm very proud of. And I think from that experience, I do have a few things that I can share with you guys as well. Let me just see how this is going, and then I'll continue. So who's watching? I see there's one person, guest request. Allow viewers to send you a request. What is this? I've never done a live before, but so far I think this is working actually. So let me just continue. So the first tip that I have here says you must have a clear research topic, right? And then you must make sure that your topic is very concise and specific, and you must continue to refine it over time. So what is a research topic? At this point, if you are someone who's planning to do their honors thesis, at this point I think you must have an idea of what a research idea is, right? Research topic. So that's basically the idea that you want to explore, and then it's basically the problem that you think, okay, I have this question in my mind and I want to solve it by doing research and writing a thesis on it, basically, right? So in my case, my research topic was, because I wanted to find out how translation as a strategy can be used to basically make sure that there are more academic texts available in African languages at tertiary institutions, right? So what was the problem that made me think about, because there must always be a problem at the back of your mind, right? Behind your research topic. So the problem for me that I thought about, the problem that I wanted to solve is the fact that when you go to university, be it Rhodes University, UCT, whatever, any university in South Africa, you will find that most academic texts or resources are in English, be it your textbooks, your journal articles, your whatever. So most things are available in English and some in Afrikaans. thought there are a few available in isiXhosa and other African languages, but there were very few. And as someone who was studying African languages, I thought this is a challenge, especially for someone like me who was doing isiXhosa as one of her majors at university. And every time we had to do assignments, essays, and all that, we always had to refer to these academic texts that were written in English. So even if essay yakho uzoyibhala ngesiXhosa because you're doing isiXhosa as an elective, right? So even if your essay or whatever, your research, you're going to be writing it in isiXhosa. This was while I was in undergrad, by the way, because I did major in African language studies, which is mainly the focus at Rhodes University is around isiXhosa mostly. So every time I had to do my assignments and anything, I had to use English texts and then translate those into, isiXhosa and basically just so my question in 2016 when I wanted to do my honors thesis, I was like, what can we do basically to solve le nto kubana zingekho incwadi ne-journal articles ezingesiXhosa okanye ezikhoyo zimbalwa, So without going further into my research, I just wanted to give you an idea of how you can think about a research topic, right? That's how I thought about mine. So like I said, a research topic must be very specific. You can't just say I want to write, I want to research about, for example, can't just say I want to research about the history of isiXhosa. That is very broad. So if you want to research about the history of isiXhosa, for example, then you must bring it in again, like make it smaller, make it a bit more specific. So in which specific area of isiXhosa do you, which specific history of isiXhosa do you really want to research about? Do you see what I'm trying to say? Don't just come with a big general idea. You must basically make it smaller and smaller until you have a very specific and very concise research topic, right? And then in terms of where you get there, obviously you won't have this research topic just from the get-go. You must keep practicing, think about it, speak to people, speak to your supervisor, your colleagues, your friends, and be like, hey, this is what I'm thinking of researching about. What are your thoughts on this? And then through that process, you can always refine your research topic and make it very clear, very precise. And in the end, let's say you write a research topic, you should be able to say it in one sentence. When someone comes to you and says, hey, what are you researching about? You should be able to say, my research topic is this. Say it in one sentence without explanations. And then that's when you'll know, okay, this actually does make sense, right? And then number 2, I said, when preparing to do your honors thesis, or at your beginning stages, you must also read other texts. Well, this is an obvious one, which is books, journal articles, watch videos as well, read conference papers around your topic, right? Let's say you want to write about well, let me just make an example with my own research. I was writing about translation, and what is it about translation was I focusing on? I was focusing on how we can use translation as a strategy to increase the number of academic texts that were available in isiXhosa at tertiary institutions. And in this case, I was focusing specifically at Rhodes University. Do you see how specific my research thingy was? So anyway, if you're researching about that, obviously you'll have to find other books, journal articles, and read other scholars and just see the conversation that has been happening even before we're now to One's research. Surely there are people who have been writing around the same topic, right? So in order for you to come in, you must first read and see, but okay, in terms of translation and in terms of academic texts as available in tertiary institutions, this is what other writers have been saying. This is what the kind of research that they have done, and this is what they have come up with, right? And then you must also make sure that you must make sure that your research topic, no one has actually written about it, because at the end of the day, the point here is for you to come up with new knowledge, right? In a way. But new knowledge, it won't just come out of the blue. You must know, no matter how smart your idea might be, and no matter how unique you might think it is, you'll actually find out that there is someone who has actually written about something similar, even if it's not exactly the same. someone has written about something similar, maybe in another language or at another institution, or so they must always remember that someone has written about this. Read those texts and see where your research topic now will fit into that conversation, right? So while I was doing my honors thesis, I used to attend many research seminars where they taught you basically how to do research and all that. And I remember this lady who always facilitated those workshops. She always used to say that you must imagine as if you are coming into a table, right? So there's already a table, and on this table, like abantu abakhulu, they're already discussing things around your topic. Let's say but discuss a translation, right? And specifically translation that discussing about ukungqongophala or the scarcity of academic texts available at tertiary institutions or at high school or primary school level. So you must imagine yourself as someone coming into that table. You have your own chair there, and you actually you basically have to join the conversation. So it's not like you're gonna come up with something completely new. There's nothing about it, but you must actually recognize the fact that there's already a table. There's already a discussion, an ongoing discussion around this topic. And when now you just have to situate yourself, position yourself within that conversation, right? So yeah, the second point that I wanted to highlight is that you must read basically the topic, because definitely there will be people who have written about the topic, and you must also now find loopholes now in their discussion, right? As you are looking at listening to that discussion or reading in this case, you must see, okay, they've mentioned this, they've mentioned that, but they haven't covered, for example, indaba scarcity of academic texts, roads specifically. So kulo discussion, you must look for loopholes now and see where you can actually, where you can contribute basically, right? So moving right along, so I actually wanted to, because I did join journalism as my undergrad, one of my majors in undergrad. So in terms of rewriting, I specialized in writing. We're always every time you write something, you must always think about the 4 W's and the H. So which is what, who, why, and where, and then the W is how. So number one, you must have a clear and concise research topic. Basically answers the what question. What are you writing or researching about? And then number 2, read other texts available around the same topic. Number 2, then answer the question who is talking about this, right? Who is already who are some of the main scholars who are already discussing the topic, sharing ideas and all that. And then number 3, the third tip that I have for you, you actually have 10. I need to make this a bit quicker. Number 3 says, after reading now, you must think about where your research topic falls into. Okay, I have already mentioned this, and I did say that it's imagine yourself as if you're going into a table where there's already an ongoing discussion. So you must think about what. So it also goes back to the what question. What new knowledge or findings are you bringing into this conversation, right? And then also, what's the point? I remember in one of the writing workshops that I attended, one of the facilitators was like, why should we care? I mean, she wasn't trying to be offensive to me, but in a way she was just teaching me or everyone else who had attended that workshop to know that whatever you are doing, you must first think, who cares and why must we care? So let's say in my case, you are writing about or you want to research about how translation can be used as a strategy to make sure that there are more academic texts available at tertiary institutions. So the question is, why should we care about that? So in your research or in your plan, you think about, okay, why am I even doing this? What is the point? Why do I care so much? Why do I want my readers? Because in the end, your thesis is going to be read by your examiner. You're going to want to publish it in academic journals. You will want to publish it in maybe as a book chapter or things like that. So you must ask yourself, before you even go through the trouble of doing all this research, who cares and why should they care? So in my case, if I were to answer that question of what's the point? The point is that there are students who are, specializing in African language studies, in most South African universities, like maybe UKZN, I'm sure Zulu African languages. I know that Rhodes upon Anfunda Corner we're doing African language studies, and we're mainly focused on isiXhosa. And for us, we really did struggle to find academic texts, like I said, that are written in isiXhosa, and it didn't make sense because we're studying izinto ngesiXhosa, and we're even advised to write ESSZ in isiXhosa. But how can you do that when you have nothing to refer to? Akho ncwadi ebhalwe ngesiXhosa, akukho academic text ebhalwe ngesiXhosa. Most of izinto ngesiXhosa were mainly what do you call them, literature, you know. So I was saying academic, like let's say incwadi that talk about physics textbooks that are written in isiXhosa. Why don't you have, you know, resources in journalism and media studies that are actually written in isiXhosa? Why are they all available in English, as if everyone who studies journalism or everyone who studies physics only speaks English? Do you see what I mean? So the point that I wanted to basically make also is that it was kind of English kuphela. I did also touch into that. It's like hegemony, and okay, you are the only language that is important. Every other language does not matter, even though university, which is Rhodes University, there are people from all corners of life speaking all kinds of languages. So, you know, and then Rhodes University was based in Eastern Cape, where isiXhosa was one of the official languages. So anyway, without going deep into my research, but the point I wanted to make here is that research, before you even do your research, you must first ask yourself why must people care about this, right? So number 4 says, think about what kind of data you need in order to substantiate now your argument. Because so then I like the you know what, there are very few academic languages at tertiary institutions. So you must bring facts. You can't just say, hi, from my own experience, this is what I experienced. Yes, your experience is very are valuable and all that, but you must also substantiate your research topic. Whatever you're saying, you must also make sure that you bring in facts to support your argument, right? Especially once you've started writing, you can't just say, okay, you know what, this thing of not having text written in isiXhosa at Rhodes University, that is affecting abafundi. How do you know that? Maybe it did affect you as one person, but how do you know that it did affect other students as well? So that's where now research topics, data, what do you call them? Strategies of collecting data, basically, that's where they come from. They come in. So you must basically do your research and find out what data collection methods you're gonna have to use in order to substantiate your argument. That's the best way I can put it. So do your research. There are mixed methods. There is a qualitative research, there's a quantitative. So you must think about which, after you've done your research about what these methods do, you must think about, okay, in terms of what I want to achieve with my research, which research methods do I need to use in order to substantiate my argument, right? Yeah. And then, by the way, when you do write your thesis, you're gonna have to have a section that actually a section titled research methods, and say which research method you used, why you chose that one, and basically how does it work. And then now you have to situate it specifically into your research context, and say, okay, I chose the qualitative because it works better in terms of this and that, and then this is how I'm actually gonna do it, right? So number 4, let me just read, what else did I say here? I said read about the different research methods out there, and think about which one will be suitable for your specific research, and then explain why you think it will be suitable, right? I think I've covered that already. And then number 5 is about structure. You must now find out what structure is acceptable in your department, right? So if you have seen a thesis before, actually, if you haven't seen it and you think of doing one, then you must definitely ask your supervisor or your head of department or whoever in your department to give you like an example, a tangible example of a thesis, a successful one that has been written by a student in your department, so that you can not copy per se, but to refer to and see what structure is acceptable in your institution first as a whole, and then in your department specifically. So this will be things such as a cover page. How should you structure a cover page? And then in your table of contents, what are some of the most important things that you need to include there? And then what type of referencing style is used in your department, right? So you must know all those things before you can even start to do your research, instead of just, doing your own cover page and then submitting that kind of work and, losing marks, because you do get marks as well for having a proper structure. So that is let me have some water. That's number 5, right? And then number 6 says you must know who you'll be working with. This one is obvious. This will be your supervisor. And in most institutions, a supervisor is normally allocated for you, right? Because depending on what topic you'll be covering, they already know in your department, but you want to do translation, the best person that can supervise you topic is someone who is a lecturer who specializes in translation, you see, so this will be handled, this will be between you and your department, and it will depend also in terms of what specialization you want to be focusing on. Then number 7 says you must pay attention during seminars, right? Sorry. And consider every single piece of advice or either by your supervisors, your facilitators. Let's say you are attending those workshops where they teach you how to do research. You must attend those, around campus when they've planned those workshops to teach, what do you call them now, postgrad students how to conduct research, how to write their thesis and all. You must always attend those, and you must attend more than one. You can't just say, last month I did attend one. Even if that's the case, I'm sure you can learn something new maybe on your second time, and there'll be different students asking different questions, so you'll definitely learn something new. So consider going to all those seminars, and then okay, today we're gonna be helping you guys and basically giving you tips on how to do your research and all that. Pay attention. Don't just go there and be like, okay, I'm here. Pay attention, ask questions, and make sure that you already have an idea in terms of your own research. You already have a few questions relating to your own research, so that when you get there, you can listen attentively first. And if you feel like those questions that you had were not answered, then you can always raise your hand and be like, okay, in terms of my research, this is what I'm struggling with. What are your tips on that? So for me, this was one of the main things that really helped me in terms of structuring my thesis, because like I said, I was already good in terms of writing isiXhosa, but now I had to add that writing, because yes, I was good at writing, but academic writing is actually a skill that you need to learn, and most of us actually learn that when you have to do your honors thesis. So it's very important for you to not have your ego and think, I'm already a good writer, so what's new? What am I gonna learn there? You have to understand that academic writing is very different to your normal writing and all that. So attend those seminars, and then you must always speak. There'll always be someone in your department or around campus who will be interested in helping. So let's say maybe you attend a seminar on politics. Like for me, I used to attend politics seminars, and I wasn't even doing politics, and I wasn't really that interested in politics, to be honest, but I was just going there because I wanted to listen to how other scholars are basically framing research, how they speak about their research and all that, so that I could also incorporate that into my own process, right? And then also you must never underestimate advice or tips or whatever that you get from your colleagues, right? For me, I listened to everyone, right? Take all the advice that you can take, and obviously you don't have to use all of it, but you can always, ngahluza then there. But my point here is that it's important to listen to other people, learn from other people as much as you can, so that you can also improve your research process, your writing process and all that. I don't have to. Okay, I did cover this one. And then number 8, I said attend seminars from other departments. I've already covered this. And learn about how other academics in general structure their arguments. I've spoken about this already. And I did say you must ask questions and engage and attend those free research writing seminars on campus. You must go there prepared, ask questions, etc., etc. I've already covered this as well. And number 9, I said that you must, I think I've covered this a bit already, but you must ask for a thesis that was maybe written in the previous year, Manu A or something, so that you can refer back to it. Look at the structure of that thesis in terms of the whole thing. You must basically look at how its structure, how it was written, how this person structured their argument and all that, and see what you can learn from that as well, and see what you can some of the things that you can incorporate into your research as well. So just to put it out there, in terms of my own thesis, there was I think, just to mention a name, but from my department there was a thesis kapumeza that I referred to. I'm so grateful for it because it basically structures. I followed this structure from how first page by abstract, second page it's your introduction, third page. So I followed her structure in that sense. And then also in terms of for each topic, right, that you cover, I also sort of copied her structure in terms of, okay, you introduce your topic, you do this and all that. So I didn't actually copy umsebenzi wakhe per se, because obviously she was covering something different. But in research for me, it helped me in the sense that I was able to see, but okay, she was studying in the same department as me. She did her work under the same specialization, which is African Language Studies, and this is how she structured her work, and she passed basically with flying colors, if I may add, I think. So I was like, what can I take from this? Because from now, I had not actually seen a thesis in such detail to see like its structure and everything, how it was written. So for me, that was like something that I would always refer back to, right? So you must always have, now you must have something like that, like a thesis that you can sort of not copy, but that you can refer to, use as an example to also build on in terms of your own your own work, right? Yeah, I did say that. And then lastly, number 10, I said you must trust the process, right? And then you must utilize the resources at your exposure. Avoid plagiarism. Oh, that's a big one. So in terms of your academic writing, which is why I said that academic writing on its own is another topic. You can go on YouTube and Google, what is academic writing? How do I write academically and all that? Because with the academic writing, there comes a topic of plagiarism as well. In simple terms, is plagiarism, kukopa. So you must avoid kukopa. And this is very important, especially at level postgrad, because that is where now, basically, if you're copying other people's work, it will be like saying, how do I put it? Basically, it's like saying, okay, I came up with all this information and I won't give credit to all these people who've done this research before me, and it is actually punishable. I think we are punished on university, and I think it's a criminal offense if I'm not mistaken. But it's something huge with university. You're always taught, in fact, from your first day, you're always taught about ways of referencing people's work so that you don't end up plagiarizing. Anyway, that's another topic, a topic for another day. But in terms of research, you must make sure that basically the way I do it when I do plagiarism, the way I used to do it is that for every claim or argument you put, let's say you are saying, for example, there are very few academic texts academic writings available in African languages at higher education institutions, right? So that's like an argument, right? That's like it's like a statement. It's like it's like a fact, right? So your fact, you must actually follow it with a reference. You must say kunje, and then kuchobani then ubeke igama maybe Alexander 2003 nezenzekelo. So for every claim that you make in your research, you must always follow along with a reference, right? Sometimes as you can think, oh, this is this claim I'm making, but you must, like I said in the beginning, you must always remember that well, you might be smart, you might be, I don't know, you might come up with like some nice ideas, but you must consider the fact that someone has actually written about this topic before, and you might think when it's a new idea, only to find out that no, actually someone has actually covered this before. So every claim you make in terms of plagiarism, every claim you make, you must support it with a reference. And then at the end, you're going to have your reference list at the end of your essay or your thesis or whatever, but that is a topic for another day. And then I said, speak to anyone and everyone about your research and pick up tips along the way. So doing the research, you should be eating, sleeping, dancing in research. So even if you come to buy a friend, don't be afraid to say, hey friend, I'm doing this research and this is the topic I'm thinking about. Even if you economics, politics or whatever, you can always discuss your research topic and see what they think, especially as someone outside your specialization. They might give you some new insights and like different ways to look at the research. So you must always basically don't underestimate advice from abantu just because right? So you must always talk about your research to anyone and learn whatever you can learn from those people. And then I also said here, you must rely on more than just your supervisor, right? Yes, your supervisor is there as a point of authority, if I may put it that way. And when you advisor in terms of if final decisions, right? But I take for every answer, or in fact for every question that you have, you must always go to your supervisor. You can always speak to other lecturers around the department, because as people are different and each person will teach you something different from what your supervisor would have taught you, right? Even if maybe your supervisor said, okay, this is the kind of research topic that this is how you can maybe go about research topic, how this is what the research methods that you can use, right? Fine, advice, but that doesn't mean you can't speak maybe to one of your lecturers and say, hey, this is what I was thinking about in terms of research methods for this. What do you think? They might give you something new. They might add on to what your supervisor has told you. But I guess my point here is that speak to everyone about your research. Get as many tips as you can get and see what you can use research, right? Yeah, that's basically it. So basically these are the tips that I had for you guys in terms of how you can prepare now to do your honors thesis, and this is the overall thing without getting into the structure and to the actual writing of your thesis. In my next videos, I'll be covering things such as structure, thesis, and basically, and I'll also cover academic writing along the way. But basically, this was just general tips and things to think about as you embark on your journey of doing your your honors thesis. And then I'll quickly going back to because remember in the beginning I said I wanna basically divide this into as a 4 W's and 1 H that I was taught in journalism. So I've already spoken about 1, no 2, no 3, and then number 4, that one is about the structure. I guess that one that might fall into what structure are you gonna use. So that's the what question. And then number 6, know who you will be working with in a way that answers the who question, right? And then number 6 says pay attention during seminars. I guess that can answer how am I gonna do this research. So it ends up by learning from these seminars, right? And then number 7 I said number 9 I said what did I say? Read or as in thesis in your department. That also answers the how question as well. How am I gonna do this? By reading other texts written by other people before me. I answered the how for the most part here. And then why, like I said, I think I already did cover that, but you must substantiate. You must say, why must people care about this research idea in the first place? And then where, let me just answer the where question because I haven't touched on that. So where in my case would have been the research topic, where is it, what is the context basically of your research? And in my case, the context was Rhodes University and specifically the African Languages Department, because it was these resources and finance translate, like I thought we should translate. Basically, I was trying to see how translation can be used as a strategy to make sure that we translate a more academic texts so that abantu abafundi African language studies Rhodes, they can use those, right? So that is the where question, and it must be very specific, right? Where go Eastern Cape, right? Because Rhodes is situated in the Eastern Cape. So you must make sure we talk about along your research as you prepare, even as you go about the process of going to research. You must always refer back and to say, why am I doing this? How am I doing it? Who cares? Or who am I doing it for? What is the context? Where is my research focusing on? And then who am I doing it for? And then how am I gonna do it, right? So that's basically all the tips that I had for this video. Like I said, I'll be covering more topics around academic writing, specifically in isiXhosa, because like I said, I was one of the first few people to write a thesis in isiXhosa. That was in 2016, by the way, so it's something that I'm very proud of. And I think now it's a fashioning. I mean, I was not the very first one. I remember that year Uhleze from my school, and I'm from Rhodes, he did that for his PhD thesis. So since then, this has been a trend. People have been writing that thesis in African, in isiVenda, in isiZulu, and other African languages. So it's something that I think most people would like to get into as well. But I'm sure you could use some tips on how you can actually go about doing it, and especially now when it comes to actually writing everything in that specific African language. So I'll definitely be bringing you videos around how to write, basically do into academic writing in isiXhosa. So please do look out for those. Like I said in the beginning, I do have a Facebook page titled Big Sister Advice with Joy Ngapu. Please go ahead and like that page. I'll be sharing my videos there. And then please also like my Facebook page. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's also called Big Sister Advice with Joy Ngapu. Good night, guys. I hope this video went well. Please do share it with abantu abaziyo that they're trying to do their research as well, even if it's not specifically in isiXhosa. I'm sure this